Majo, John, Ned, and Juanito in the doorway of my tiny house in Acapulco, Mexico, with some thoughts about surrender, uh, trust in abundance, and dealing with reality. Now, that's a big glob. That's a big glob. But I've been trying to make sense out of why I am so overwhelmingly happy today, more than ever. I've been terminally happy for 5 years since I had a big spiritual experience. And it's been growing, growing, growing. It has everything to do with being planted in Nakamal. It has everything to do with being in the Riviera Maya, with being in Mexico, and has something to do with that I got my check. And after 3 weeks of being broke, I temporarily have a lot of money. It's not going to last. But I've managed to pay off my tab at the grocery store, my tab at the restaurant, finally paid off all my security deposit as well as my month of rent. And my money is liable to run out pretty quick, and I'll be scraping by. I can run a tab at the grocery store, but no longer can run a tab at the restaurant because I had a big run-in with the manager. I'm experiencing abundance in terms of my vision for what I want to offer, how I want to help in the healing of the planet here in Riviera Maya. And it's being operationalized primarily so far with dogs and a cat. I've got the Majo Juanito doggy soup kitchen that's now up to 6 dogs, and there's 1 cat. And my neighbor gave me a whole big stock of bananas. He is an awesome guy. So how does trust fit into this and dealing with reality? I've been wrestling with this one for the whole time I've been here in Akamal because I am a creature. If I have one addiction, my primary addiction is love and romance. And sex. Incredibly attracted to women and really good at loving women. But I've again and again taken a stance these days that I won't go for what's unreal, fantasizing about the G-string bikini babes on the beach. No, I'm not going there because it's not real. That's fantasy. Well, I've had a chance in the last 24 hours to let go of 48 hours, 3 big fantasies. Myrna, the woman who runs the coffee shop, I adore her. I think she's a magnificent woman. And I yelled at her about how she treats her dog. And I knew in the middle of it that it was ending the relationship. But I had to do it. I couldn't not stick up for that dog. So letting go, and I've had romantic fantasies about her too. She's so extraordinary. So I had to let go of that, let go of the friendship even, let go of the place where I spend my days. I won't be doing that anymore. Piled on top of that was another huge fantasy has been Lupita, the barber next door to her, who is gorgeous and fun and playful and funny. And because I was hanging out at Myrna's and Lupita worked next door, we have fun, flirty exchanges every day. And in one of them a couple weeks ago, I said, "So, Lupita, you don't like dogs." Now, that's usually a big flag for me. People who don't like dogs tend to be, there's something wrong with them. There's something unhealed. Yeah, right. You're right. I don't like dogs. And you don't like cats? No, I don't like cats. And just playfully, I said, and tarantulas? No, I don't like tarantulas. I've had them in the house here. Mosquitoes? Do you like them? No, I don't like mosquitoes. And I don't like men. And she said it with a playful laugh. And I don't believe it. But I believe that she's off of men. I believe she got hurt. I believe she's taken the stance that she's going to do it without men. But it did not dent my fantasy process with her. I said, long game, I live here now, and we'll see. At some point, she's going to be ready to heal whatever happened, and maybe she'll tell me the story about the guy who hurt her, and then we'll be off and running, you know? But yesterday, as I was getting a haircut from her, I realized, number one, your Spanish is pitiful. You can't even have a conversation with her. And number two, you're not going to be hanging out here anymore because you're not allowed on the property next to her. So you're not going to have the chance to do your little daily playful flirtation. So it's going nowhere. It's very unlikely anything's going to happen there. And I dropped it. Just dropped it. Said, okay, good. And then the third fantasy object is over in Tulum, the next town over, who my one encounter with her in a culture where women only hug family and close friends. This girl hugged me and hugged me and hugged me, and she was a little drunk. But out on the sidewalk, when I looked in her eyes, she started to cry, and I said, she's got trauma there that's ready to pop. We'll get that healed. So I went over to Tulum yesterday for business purposes partly, but also because I love Tulum and have hardly been there. Number one, I got completely blown out, overwhelmed by how intense a place it is and how much I love it. And I realized I had briefly considered leaving Akumal. This town's too small for me to have that thing with Myrna and her partner David hating me and uncomfortable with seeing me. So I was considering moving to Tulum. And I got there and realized, no, this is too much the candy shop. Too many beautiful women, too many gorgeous dresses, too many everything. No. And by the way, you've had this fantasy you were going to find that woman Esmeralda over there because she runs a nail shop. How hard is that going to be? Well, Tulum is huge, and there's got to be 100 nail shops. And I went, that's not going to work. You have to drop that fantasy too. So I dropped 3 of my biggest romantic fantasies and came back to the dogs and the long game and trust, because I'm about to launch my products, which is going to get me in touch with people, ecstatic dances where I'll meet people and make more money and be able to go out and party and meet people at dances and stuff. And I trusted. I said, trust. There's so many gorgeous women around here. Drop the fantasy of those 3 delectable women and come back to the truth. And the truth right now is you have a superabundance of animals and you're crazy about animals and you believe in the kinship of all life. That knowing that you are one with everything means embracing all the beings. And I've got this astonishing array of dogs and wonderful cat and beautiful weather and the Caribbean to swim in. Just trust. And you're really committed to non-monogamy. And I just did a video about how monogamy is connected with scarcity in lots of cases, not all. You and me against the world. I'm never going to find anybody as good as you. So I'm going to close the door, limit how much love I give to others, and focus all of it on you. And I really see that for me, that totally doesn't work. It's got to be non-monogamous. And I'm getting it, that non-monogamy is connected with trust in abundance. So I've just been over the moon in terms of oneness and how connected I feel with life today. But it required the discipline of giving up what's not real. Don't do that. Don't fantasize about them. And I haven't. If that sounds easy, probably doesn't. That doesn't sound easy, does it? It's not easy. But it's, for me, the only game in town, and it's working. I am the poster child for non-monogamy and trust and not chasing fantasies. I won't do it. I don't want to. How satisfying is that? It's not satisfying. No. Shut up, John. You said it. You have said it. It has been spoken by the great saint of Kakuma. And I've been saying a lot today about how much I don't know. So that's a part of it. Getting it that I know a lot, and I talk forever about the spiritual life. I've got so much to say about all that. But there's even more that I don't know. And that's a trust too. Trust that life just keeps teaching me, keeps making me better, making me more Mexican, making me more fluid in the water, which is so healing for me. And other friendships. Mirna's brother, Marcos, who's my landlord, is coming forward as a stronger friend than ever. We're getting tighter and tighter. He is an extraordinary man. He doesn't feel a need to take sides. The fact that his sister has decided I'm a bad guy just doesn't affect him. He's got his own relationship with me. Good. Gracias a Dios. That's how people say how they are. Muy bien. Very good. Gracias a Dios. Give God the credit. Because God knows I'm not smart enough to arrange all this. Buenas tardes. It's afternoon. I'm exhausted. I'm going to lay down and take a nap. Or at least rest. Bye.